Isn't that cool? When it turns on, it sounds like I'm watching a streaming platform, not a Bluetooth speaker. Sounds cool when it turns off too. If you're as old as I am, you may remember the boombox being so radical, dude. But try as we might, nothing can compete with the real thing. Dual cassette decks and all. But the Motion X600 from Soundcore with its sleek aluminum handle on top might be the modern equivalent, being able to play music wirelessly from your favorite streaming platform via Bluetooth. But not only that, Soundcore themselves claim that this is the world's first Bluetooth speaker that supports high-res audio playback wirelessly. But there's a caveat. First off though, let's hop online and check out some. Okay, the Motion X600 from Soundcore. The world's first portable, high-fidelity speaker. Immersive spatial audio inspired by theater acoustics. Inspired by theater acoustics. Huh. 50 watts of room-filling sound. Whether you're having a party or just enjoying your favorite tunes, the 50-watt sound will fill any space with rich, high-quality sound that brings music to life. More on that later, but despite only having 50 watts of power, it gets loud. Take immersive music anywhere. Portable and lightweight, Motion X600 is easy to carry between rooms to transfer any part of your home into an immersive listening space. Honestly, this is true. While I was reviewing it, I just kind of took it all over the house. I had it on the kitchen counter when I was cooking. I had it on the kitchen table when I wanted to continue listening to a podcast. I'm currently in the process of building out a new office space to work in, and I had to clean out that entire room because we're trying to get some carpet laid down. And I took the X600 over there to my brother-in-law's property where the office will be and just listened to some cool tunes as I was cleaning up the place. And man, it really is convenient that I can just boop, carry it around wherever I go. 12-hour playtime. Keep listening to music and podcasts for days at a time. There should be an asterisk next to that because in the FAQs, the battery life does have some caveats. So we'll get to that later. Fully waterproof. Features IPX7 waterproof protection so you can simply relax and listen without worrying about the speaker getting wet. But Elon, what does that even mean? Well, apparently IPX7 means the device can not only handle some water being splashed or sprayed on it, you can also completely submerge the Motion X600 in water up to a depth of 3 feet. But don't forget to make sure this little rubber flap on the back is in place and secure. Did I try to submerge it myself? No, but it's good to know that it has such a powerful waterproof rating. Sound is emitted vertically and horizontally for an immersive experience. As you can see here, we've got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drivers. Experience 3 times more detail. Officially LDAC and high-res audio certified. But there is a caveat to that, so we'll get to that later also when we check out some of the FAQs. Captivating 3-channel audio via 5 drivers, 5 amplifiers, and DSP. Auxiliary in, that being a little 3.5mm aux import, so you can plug your phone in, I guess, wired instead of having it go through Bluetooth technology. Because we'll also get to that later on why it's probably better to do that instead of through Bluetooth when you have an iPhone. Stay tuned. 3 colors. The colors are actually pretty cool. We've got this gray, that's obviously the one that I was sent, kind of metallic blue looking, and this metallic green. This thing goes up to 40 kilohertz on the top end. Sound diffuses vertically and horizontally to fill any space. But what I want to know is what's going on with these two right here. He's got a tiny little book. I mean, it's not even like a novel. Maybe it's more like a self-help book or a mini cookbook. I don't know. Obviously, he's not reading it right now because he had to take a break to longingly look at his, I can only assume is his girlfriend, who happens to be reading a textbook. Obviously, it's not a novel. Obviously, it's not a children's book. So maybe she's in college and she's reading her textbook. And he's like, oh, I love it when you read textbooks. Hear every detail. High-end DSP delivers sound that's 8 times better than our previous speakers, comparing it to their other Motion Plus speaker. High-res audio. Experience quality sound with rich details. Normal music can only go up to 330 kilobits per second, but if you utilize the LDAC Bluetooth technology, it can go up to 990 kilobits per second. Because you can tell by this golden waveform that it's superior, right? Hear every detail. 40 kilohertz wide frequency lets you hear the hidden nuances in every song. So yeah, this thing goes down to 50 hertz and all the way up to 40 kilohertz. That is truly impressive for a speaker of this size. Customizable EQ. Find the sound that suits you with one flick of your finger. There are no buttons on the speaker itself that allow you to customize the EQ. You have to solely do it through the Soundcore app. I mean, it's kind of the same with Klipsch, for example, like with the 9s or 7s or the 5s. In order to customize the EQ, you have to download the Klipsch Connect app. So it's just par for the course nowadays. Yeah. But at least you can customize the EQ, which is important because it should sound the best to you. Listen for longer, get 12 hours of nonstop music. Don't let the little water stand between you and your favorite tunes. So yeah, if you're obviously, as this picture is indicating, if you're listening to tunes while you're washing dishes and you splash all over the place, you're fine. The speaker is fine. But clearly from this picture, it just looks like they deliberately splashed some water on it just for the picture. Room filling sound. The 50 watts output is powerful enough to suit any space. And I have to agree. Again, more on that later. But once again, let's take a look at this scene that's happening right now. Clearly these twos are friends. He's smiling. You're talking about something pretty cool and I am enjoying this conversation. And yet the girlfriend looks like she is staring off into space, probably playing music really loud, and she wants to be next to the speaker to drown out what these two are talking about. Ugh, they're talking about stocks again. Ugh, they're talking about sports again. Let me just be in my safe place with my music away from these two knuckleheads. But you can see it in her eyes. She is tired of this conversation and just wants out. 3D grid. The distinctive metal mesh design brings a rugged industrial feel to any space. An upward firing driver fills any space with sound to surround you with music. Aluminum handle. The aluminum handle features a tactile grooved design for a comfortable grip. All right, as I said, let's get into some of these FAQs. We're not going to go over all of them. I did post a quick unboxing video on my Instagram and YouTube Shorts, etc. So I guess check that out if you want to. Yeah. How long does it take to charge the Motion X600? It takes about 6 hours to charge with a certified 5-volt, 3-amp wall charger. And honestly, that's pretty accurate. Can I get stereo sound when using Motion X600? Yes, you can get stereo sound with a single Motion X600 speaker. The left side plays the left channel and the right side plays the right channel. And here's where I'm talking about the battery life. Why is the battery life less than 12 hours? 12-hour battery life is based on measurements taken at 1/4 power and with the base mode off. The actual battery life may vary depending on factors such as the type of content being played, custom EQ settings, and volume level. I'll get into more about how it sounds in a little bit, but just quickly, I'm going to say that I always have the spatial audio button on and the bass button on because it just sounds better. So I'm assuming that's going to be draining the battery just a little bit quicker than if I had them off. Okay, here's where it gets a little tricky for iPhone users. What is LDAC? LDAC is a Bluetooth encoding format that can transmit 3 times the amount of data of ordinary Bluetooth SBC. Note, LDAC only works on devices running Android 8.0 or above, and it doesn't work. Oh, that's a typo. It doesn't work on iPhone devices. And unfortunately, in this household, we are deep in the Apple ecosystem, so we only have iPhones. So in order to truly experience the LDAC high-res quality, I couldn't, at least wirelessly. Again, more on that later. How does stereo sound work during TWS pairing? When you have 2 Motion X600 speakers paired at the same time, the master speaker supports left channel and sky channel, which is what they refer to as the upward firing driver, while the secondary speaker supports right channel and sky channel. So yes, you can have 2 of these Motion X600s paired as a stereo pair. I wish I could have experienced that if they would have sent me 2, but they only sent me 1, but that's okay. But it's cool to know that that is an option. Can I increase the bass on my Motion X600? You can download the Soundcore app and pair the speaker with Soundcore app to enhance the bass via the EQ. So if you have the bass button on top engaged and it's still not enough bass for you, you can in fact go into the Soundcore app and increase the bass even more if you so choose to make it mo better. And speaking of the Soundcore app, let's go over After downloading it onto your Android or iPhone and opening it, simply tap on this button here that says Add Devices, tap on the headphone, speaker, and frames category. Now it will search for the speaker. Boom! Tap on Motion X600. Let's check out some of the settings here by tapping the gear icon in the top right corner. I do need to update the firmware, so let's do that initially. Tap Install, which will start the process. I'll speed this part up to not bore you all to death, and boom, firmware has been updated. Device restarts, and then just tap on the giant checkmark button. Very simple and clear user interface, by the way. Very nice touch. Okay, back into the settings. Voice prompt. What is voice prompt? For turning the device on, off, and Bluetooth pairing only. Okay, got it. Auto power off. I actually want to change that to 5 minutes just to save battery even more, so I will do that. I don't want to disconnect it, so I will skip that and go to the user manual. Okay, just another place to access the manual if you're curious about a few setup steps or what have you. Power on off, Bluetooth pairing, yep. Spatial sound, aux mode if you have a 3.5mm stereo cable around. Button controls are pretty self-explanatory, like play, pause, next track, previous track, yeah. Although this is interesting, I wondered why I saw somewhere that this has a microphone built into it. At first I didn't know why, but apparently according to this button controls list, you can use the speaker itself to answer, end, and reject phone calls. But not only that, the mic is used with your voice assistant built into your phone. In my case, if I press and hold the play pause button for 2 seconds, that brings up Siri. So let's say I left my phone in the other room or left it inside the house and I'm just chilling on the porch in the backyard listening to tunes. I can use the speaker to talk to people on the phone or ask Siri when the next Fast and Furious movie is coming out. Whatever. That's about it in the manual that we need to cover, so let's move on to the EQ settings. We have Soundcore Signature, Voice, Treble Boost, Balanced, and Custom. And it's actually a really powerful parametric EQ interface since you can not only boost or cut certain frequencies, you can move the nodes around to adjust more specific frequencies as opposed to just being able to adjust a series of fixed frequencies. So this is actually very powerful when it comes to customization that's exactly right for you. And lastly, you can rename a custom EQ setting if you so choose. I'm very impressed with this EQ. The app doesn't have much going on, but honestly, this is all you need, really, since EQ preferences is the most important when it comes to how you enjoy your music. Alrighty then, the moment you've all been waiting for. Let's start with the EQ presets, shall we? Right off the bat, Soundcore Signature just sounded the best to me, full stop. Should I keep going? Okay. Voice ironically sounded a little muddier with vocals. I can only assume that voice is meant for like listening to podcasts, but as you can see, the frequencies around 2 kHz have been lowered for some reason with the voice preset, so I didn't care for it too much. Treble boost definitely does what it says it does, boosting the higher frequencies. While I enjoyed it at first when listening to music, vocals quickly became a little too bright for my taste. A little too ear-piercing and fatiguing. And finally, balanced, which is the most even EQ preset of the bunch. Yeah, it sounded alright, but I still preferred Soundcore Signature over all the other presets. As far as what you can do on the speaker itself, I definitely preferred leaving bass boost on. It doesn't make it too boomy at all, it just gives your music a nice bottom end. If you turn it off, it sounded a bit too anemic and thin sounding for my taste. As far as the spatial audio button, I always leave that on as well because it just opens up the soundstage tremendously. Of course, all the marketing materials will indicate that it's room-filling sound from all around you and above and behind, all just from one speaker. But that really wasn't the case in my experience. But I will say that when the spatial audio button had been disengaged, music kind of loses its luster a bit. The vocals aren't as shimmering, instrument separation isn't as pronounced, and the overall quality of the music listening experience diminishes. So, at least for me personally, keeping bass boost and spatial audio engaged was by far the best way to go. Now, one very unfortunate thing I discovered when reviewing this speaker is that I have an iPhone. This speaker claims to support LDAC wireless technology, which is why they claim that it can support high-res audio, but it's only available with Android 8 or higher, so I couldn't actually experience this amazing fidelity. But in order to get high-res lossless audio feeding through this speaker, I just happen to have a high-res external DAC that I connected to my MacBook Pro, but instead of connecting headphones to the DAC, I just connected a 3.5mm stereo cable from the headphone out to the aux in of the Motion X600. Listening through the Apple Music app on my laptop, I queued up Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd since I knew that album is offered in high-res lossless. And compared to when I had it playing via Bluetooth, wow, it was just pretty much the same. Could I have had a different experience had I owned an Android phone? Maybe. But the fact that I didn't hear any discernible difference between Bluetooth wireless and wired auxiliary was a bit of a letdown. I wonder though, I might have heard a difference if I had two of these speakers situated in a stereo pair. Because when I listened to high-res lossless audio in the past with a proper stereo hi-fi setup, it was transformative. It sounded so good. So I can probably predict that having two Motion X600s is going to be better than one. Kind of like how Apple makes the same claim with their new HomePods. So, is this the world's first high-res wireless speaker? That remains to be seen since I don't have an Android phone. Sorry, not sorry. Does this provide spatial audio completely immersing the listener from a single speaker? Not that I could tell. But again, that may be more true with a second Motion X600. But despite its shortcomings concerning its bold claims, this is a truly remarkable sounding Bluetooth speaker in my opinion. I've heard quite a few in my time, from a small Bose SoundLink to a massive soundbox speaker, but man, I was impressed with how well this little speaker filled a room with music. And this little sucker can get loud. But beyond that, I think this is the best sounding Bluetooth speaker I've personally heard when it comes to vocals. I remember that's what hit me immediately when reviewing it right out of the box. Incredible clarity, a nice little shimmer and sheen to the vocals that cut through the mix quite well. And that bass was impressive given how small these drivers are. I was listening to some electronic music while I was cleaning out the new office space that I'm currently building out, and there were instances where I looked at the speaker in disbelief, surprised at the chest-thumping bass that I was witnessing. And the instrument separation and big soundstage that it produced was icing on the cake. So yeah, if you take away anything from this video, don't be fooled by the shortcomings that I've just listed. I was really impressed with this modern boombox, and I really enjoyed being able to carry it around wherever I went while I was reviewing it, like a little audio companion. If only it could move itself around on its own like R2-D2. But alas, I will have to wait until droids become a reality in the future. But until then, I am definitely taking this with me when I go outside to chill on the porch, or perhaps if my family and I take a trip to the beach, since it's waterproof, to a lake, on a hike strapped to my back, or maybe on my shoulder like a proper boombox, whatever. But if you're in the market for a Bluetooth speaker, would I recommend the Motion X600? Absolutely. So many other Bluetooth speakers nowadays have flashing RGB lights, which I think are a bit obnoxious, personally. I don't need the club to follow me wherever I go, thank you very much. But I am a fan of the very sleek, metallic looking design that this speaker has. It screams high end with a very solid build quality. So yeah, with its room filling sound, cool metallic aesthetic in 3 different colors, incredible voice detail, chest thumping bass, and portability, this should be on your radar when it comes to convenient, great sounding wireless audio. Hands down. No, I take that back. Hands up, gripping like a boombox. Yeah, that's it. Thank you for joining me on this review of the Motion X600 Bluetooth speaker. Do you have a need for a kick-ass Bluetooth speaker with summer in full swing? Planning on going on some trips in the next couple of months? Maybe you want to take this out on a boat with you, or take it along for the ride to an Airbnb with the fam? Have it be your boombox in your shop when you're building that DIY wood project? In any case, when you go to Soundcore's website, don't forget to use my code EALAN40. That's EALAN40 to get $40 off. Not a bad deal. Happy music listening, everyone. As always, please be kind to each other out there. Don't just watch TV and movies, experience them. And of course, always be listening.